After my wife passed away, I packed up and moved so I could be near my grandkids. I figured being closer might help fill the silence. First night there, my son-in-law changed the lock on the bathroom door. Said it was about boundaries. From day one, I had to ask before I could eat anything. My daughter stood over a pot of soup like she couldn't hear me. "He's right, Dad," she said. Not a guest, they told me. A burden. That's what I was now. The day they left for vacation, they didn't leave food. Just took the car keys and went. Even I didn't expect what I did next. My wife, she died just the year before. It started with breast cancer and spread fast. 8 months. That's all we had. I sat with her through chemo, through hospice, through the long, still nights when there was nothing left to say. After she passed, I spent my days just sitting there, staring at her slippers by the bed like she might come back for them. Sleep wouldn't come. Food lost all taste. I was 68 but felt like I'd already faded into the background of my own life. After we buried her, everything got quiet. Too quiet. Friends stopped calling. Church folks dropped off casseroles for a few days, then disappeared like everyone else. Emily, my daughter, checked in once in a while. Jason, her husband, barely at all. Eventually, Emily suggested I move in with them in Louisville, said being near the kids might help me stay busy. I took her up on it. Sold the house, boxed up what I had left, and made the move. I didn't expect a hero's welcome, but I didn't think it would be like that. When I arrived, Jason didn't lift a finger, just stood out on the porch while I carried my suitcase in. Emily gave me a quick hug, told the kids to greet Grandpa. They offered stiff hugs and bolted back to their screens. The place was big, clean, oddly quiet. Jason led me downstairs to the basement. That's where I'd be staying. Finished, sure, but freezing. Bare concrete, a flimsy rug, a worn futon, and a tiny fridge. No stove. No sink. No windows either. There was a bathroom, but before I could step inside, Jason handed me a key. "For the basement bathroom," he said. "To keep things organized." Organized? Boundaries, he added, like that explained it all. I didn't want to start drama right out the gate. So I nodded. The next morning, I crawled out of that futon sore and stiff, and went upstairs to make some coffee. Emily was cooking something. Jason was glued to his laptop. I reached for the pantry, and Jason looked up. "Going somewhere?" he asked, dead serious. I thought he was being funny. I laughed. He wasn't. "We just like to be asked first," he said. "We're teaching the kids structure. Can't have folks just helping themselves." Folks. That's what I was now, folks. Not family. Emily didn't even glance up. Just kept stirring that soup. Then she said it. Flat as paper. "He's right, Dad. You're not a guest. You're a burden." No emotion. Like she was reading from a memo. My chest clenched. I didn't argue. Just turned around and walked back downstairs. That word, burden, rattled around my brain like a marble in a tin can. From that day on, I stayed quiet. Kept to the basement. Ordered my meals online when I could afford it. They didn't invite me to dinner, not once. Now and then, I'd get a text, pick up the kids, fold some laundry. I always said yes. Even when Jason rolled his eyes because I didn't fold towels his way. Even when they had people over and acted like I wasn't living there at all. One night Jason asked me to keep my shoes. "In my area," said the kids were tripping. My shoes were lined up neat as anything, right by the door. Another night Emily asked if I could walk quieter at night. I'd only used the bathroom twice. I wore socks. Still wasn't quiet enough, I guess. Then came the final straw. They told me they were heading to Myrtle Beach for 5 days. Family vacation, they called it. I asked if I could come, said I'd pay my way. Emily looked uncomfortable. "Not the right time," she said. Jason chimed in with, "We need some nuclear family bonding." That one stung. I offered to house sit while they were away. Jason shrugged. "You'll be here anyway." Saturday morning, they packed the car. Before they left, Jason came down and took the car keys from the hook. "Just for safety," he said. "Wouldn't want you getting lost." "Can I at least go to the store?" I asked. He grinned. "We stocked your fridge." No, they hadn't. Once they left, I opened the mini fridge. 1 bottle of mustard and a half-drunk bottle of water. That was it. I checked the pantry upstairs. Padlocked. I looked in the trash. 2 fresh loaves of bread and a full rotisserie chicken, just sitting there, untouched. Tossed out on purpose. Like a message. I sat at their kitchen table, alone. Not sad anymore. Just furious. My own daughter. After all the nights I sat beside her while she gasped through asthma attacks. After every dime I spent on her college, her wedding. I didn't plan what I did next. It just happened. I went into Jason's home office. He used to show off his vault to neighbors like it made him a big deal. I knew the combo, 2007 for their wedding year, 11 for his college jersey. I'd seen him punch it in while I fetched his mail. I opened it. Inside, some petty cash, 2 fancy watches, and a loaded Glock in a case. I took $300.20. That's all. Didn't touch the gun. I left a note. Said, "You took the keys. You locked the food. I'm not your hostage. I'm not your child. I'm not your burden." Then I called a cab. Paid cash. Booked a room at an extended stay motel on the other side of town. It smelled like cigarettes. But I could breathe. That night I had a hot burger, crispy fries, and a cold beer. First real meal in days. I slept like a baby. Next morning, I opened my laptop and called my lawyer. Emily didn't know it, but before my wife died, she told me to stash money away just in case. Said she didn't trust Jason. I should have listened to her face that last visit. They shared a look I missed back then. We had $140,000 from her life insurance. She made sure I put it somewhere safe, just for me. I used part of it to buy a duplex in a working-class neighborhood in Louisville. 1/2 for me. The other for someone who could actually use a break. That's where I met Sarah, single mom, 2 kids, running from an abusive ex. I offered her the other half for $1 a month, just until she got her footing. She cried. Told me no one had ever shown her kindness before. Meanwhile, Jason left a voicemail. Fake outrage dripping from every word. "You stole from us?" That's what Jason texted me. "You'd better come back and explain before I call the cops." I only sent one reply, "Go ahead. Call them. And be sure to tell them why you took my car keys and locked up the food like I was some kind of animal." I haven't heard a word from him since. I blocked both his and Emily's numbers that same day. I still miss my grandkids, that part cuts deep. But I've made my peace with it. Jason and Emily tried everything to make me feel like nothing. Worthless. But funny thing is, the moment I left, I started to remember who I really was. Just 3 weeks into living at the duplex, it was like I could finally breathe again. No locks. No one checking on me. I got up early, brewed my own coffee, stepped onto the porch, and listened to the birds like it was the first time I'd ever heard them. That kind of peace? You don't realize how precious it is until it's been stolen from you. Sarah and her 2 boys moved in next door a week after I settled in. They showed up with almost nothing. 1 beat-up suitcase, a busted laptop, and a cardboard box of canned goods from the church pantry. The boys barely said a word. Sarah looked exhausted, like sleep was something she hadn't had in years. I gave her my wife's old couch and picked up a few things off Craigslist, a table, bunk beds for the kids, and a microwave. She cried again. Told me she felt like I'd been sent from God. I told her the truth. I'm just an old man who lost everything and needed someone to care about again. Life got simple after that. And for a while, it was good. Then one morning, I spotted Emily's car parked a few houses down. It was a Tuesday. I'd just gotten back from the grocery store, and there it was, her gray SUV, the same one she always drove. Tinted windows, just sitting there. Not in front of my place, but close enough. I stood there holding my grocery bags, just staring. A minute later, the SUV pulled away. 2 days after that, I found a letter in my mailbox. No return address. Inside was a photo of me and Sarah's boys on the porch, all of us smiling as we worked on a birdhouse. And across the photo, written in thick black Sharpie, "You replaced your grandkids with trash?" No name. But I didn't need one. The very next night, someone slashed my tires. All 4. My neighbor across the street said he'd seen a guy sneaking around my car just after midnight. Said the guy had a limp, like he was trying to keep low. Jason had knee surgery last fall. I didn't go to the cops. I didn't want to stir things up any more than they already were. But something in me shifted. I was done pretending they were finished with me. I got a new lawyer. This one wasn't the nice old guy who handled my will. This one was sharp. Tough. Didn't sugarcoat. I laid it all out for him. How I'd been mistreated, how they tried to control me, how they left me behind like I was nothing. I had everything. Texts, voicemails, even photos. And I asked him just one thing. What can I do to make sure they never get their hands on me or my money again? He smiled. Said, "Oh, we've got options." So we rewrote the will. Set up a third-party trustee so nothing could be touched without legal review. Emily and Jason? Completely removed. Power of attorney, gone. Health proxy, changed. We even set up a trust in Sarah's name, for her boys. Just in case. They deserve that. And just when I thought it was all locked up, Jason showed up at my door. Middle of the day, I was watering the lawn when he pulled up like it was just another visit. Walked up my driveway, arms open like we were old buddies. "Hey, we need to talk, old man," he said, flashing that fake grin of his. I didn't say a word. "I know you've been making moves, lawyers, trusts, all that stuff," he said. "I get it. You're mad. But come on, we're family." He stepped in closer, and I saw that look in his eyes. The same one he used to get when he was about to lie through his teeth. Then he said something that chilled me. "You really gonna leave everything to some stray woman and her bastard kids? You think that's what your wife would have wanted?" I didn't flinch. I just said, "You need to leave. Right now." But he didn't. He smirked. "Just came to tell you, we're contesting everything. The will. The house. All of it. You're not in your right mind. You've had depression, right? We'll make the case." I didn't argue. Just turned around, walked inside, and locked the door behind me. 5 minutes later, I was on the phone with my lawyer. Told him what happened. He said we'd start documenting everything, every threat, every visit. Advised me to install cameras, keep logs. So that night, I set up security all around the property: front porch, alley, side yard, street view. My lawyer filed the footage to make sure it was court-ready. He told me to track every incident, date, time, details. 3 days later, Emily showed up. Didn't ring the bell. Just let herself in through the side gate and started yelling from the porch. "Dad! Come out! I need to talk!" Sarah saw her and called me right away. I stepped outside and saw my daughter standing there, hair messy, eyes red, no makeup. For a second, I thought maybe she'd come to apologize. Nope. She shoved a folder into my hands. "This is a petition for guardianship," she said. "You're clearly being taken advantage of. You've cut off your family, moved your money to strangers, and we're not going to let you destroy what Mom left for us." I couldn't even find the words. I opened the folder. It was real. She'd hired a lawyer. The paperwork said I was mentally unstable. Said Sarah was manipulating a grieving old man. That's what they called her, a predator. I looked Emily in the eyes and asked the only thing that mattered, "Do you really believe I've lost my mind? Or is this just about the money?" She didn't answer. She turned, walked down the steps, and tore off in that SUV like a teenager storming out of her bedroom. I just stood there, heart pounding. She didn't want to help me. She wanted to own me. I went back inside and showed Sarah the paperwork. Her hands were shaking. "They're coming after you too," I told her. "They already called you a predator." "I don't care what they call me," Sarah said. "I just don't want to see you get hurt." The next morning, my lawyer filed a motion to shut down the guardianship case. He also submitted paperwork for a restraining order against Jason, pointing to the threats, the vandalized car, and everything else we had documented. He told me we had a strong case, but warned me, this is going to get worse before it gets better. He wasn't wrong. 2 weeks later, Child Protective Services showed up on our doorstep. Someone had accused Sarah of neglect, and said she was living with a dangerous, elderly man suffering from mental instability. That would be me. They questioned her boys. Dug through her pantry. Even asked if I'd ever been left alone with the kids. Sarah broke down after they left. "I knew it," she whispered. "I knew they'd use your love for us against you. CPS cleared her within 48 hours. No issues. No cause for concern. But the damage was already done. The boys were jumpy. Sarah couldn't sleep. That night, I picked up the phone and told my lawyer I was done playing defense. I don't just want to stop them, I said. I want the truth out there. So we started digging. Turns out Jason's so-called consulting firm, a shady little setup in a shared office building, was already under investigation. Fraud complaints. Civil lawsuits. My lawyer found 3 active cases. One client claimed Jason promised a federal contract that never existed. Another accused him of double billing her for some nonsense strategy session. The third? Someone said Jason ghosted after taking a deposit. When we pulled his financials, it got worse. He'd borrowed against their house. Deeply. They were upside down. And suddenly it all made sense. That's why they came for me. For the money. It wasn't about family. It was about getting a lifeline. I had proof now. Hard evidence. And yet somehow, it still got worse. I walked outside one morning to find a dead bird on my doorstep. Neck snapped clean. Wings tucked in, like someone had posed it. Feathers scattered everywhere. I checked the cameras. Caught someone creeping around at 3 a.m. hoodie. Limping. Same damn limp Jason had after his knee surgery. I turned the footage over to the police. This time, they took it seriously. Jason got a visit. And just like that, I had leverage. But I wasn't ready to use it. Not yet. I was waiting. Because I had something bigger planned. After that, things went quiet. No more creepy letters. No surprise visits. My lawyer said the restraining order was in motion. Sarah was cleared. It looked like maybe, just maybe, they were backing off. But I knew better. They weren't retreating. They were regrouping. Then the hammer dropped. I got a letter from the court. Emily had filed for full financial conservatorship. She wanted total control of my assets. Claimed I was no longer fit to manage my own money. Her evidence? An email I sent her after my wife died, when I was drowning in grief. I don't know why I'm still here. I had written. Some days I just want to sleep and not wake up. That was it. That was the line she used to paint me as suicidal and unfit. She told the court Sarah was a manipulative stranger with a criminal past. Said I was being conned into giving my money away. I had 30 days to respond, or a court investigator would come determine my mental state. It was low. Dirtier than anything I expected. And it crushed Sarah. She wept when she read the paperwork. Said, I don't want to be the reason your family's doing this to you. I looked her in the eyes and told her the truth. You're not the reason. They are. They always were. But there's something I hadn't told anyone yet. I'd been planning for this. Ever since Jason started threatening my will, I'd been collecting every scrap of evidence. Texts. Emails. Footage from the cameras. The CPS visit. Even the dead bird on the porch. My lawyer put it all together into a binder. Labeled it Why They'll Never Touch My Money. But that wasn't all. I'd also hired a private investigator. Cost me $6,000, and worth every penny. What he found? Jason had opened a credit card in my name. Used my social security number. Bought electronics, flights, meals, even helped pay for that Myrtle Beach trip. He had the bills sent to a P.O. box he set up across town. Took a while for me to catch it. $7,800. Fraud. Pure and simple. I froze the account. Filed a police report. My lawyer sent everything straight to the court. That same week, Emily's lawyer dropped the conservatorship case. Said they couldn't move forward. Too much exposure. Too many lies. But I wasn't done. I sued Jason for financial fraud and emotional abuse. Brought every bit of dirt we had into the courtroom. His phony business, the CPS stunt, the threats, the credit card theft, even the dead bird. We included statements from Sarah, the neighbors, the kids, and the private investigator. Emily tried to play innocent. She called me, crying. Dad, I didn't know Jason did that. I never meant to hurt you. I was just scared. I asked her one question. Why didn't you stop him when he locked the food? Silence. Then I said, you let that man treat your father like a dog. You stirred a pot of soup while he made me ask to eat. She started sobbing. I hung up. Months later, the court ruled in my favor. Jason was ordered to pay damages. A warrant went out for the credit card fraud. His fake consulting gig went under. He tried to start a new one, but the word got out. That's the thing about liars. Once they're exposed, nobody forgets. Emily filed for divorce 6 months later. I didn't reply to her letter. I left Louisville soon after. Signed the deed to the duplex over to Sarah. Free and clear. She cried so hard she had to sit down. I hugged her boys goodbye. Told them to take care of their mom, always. Then I packed up my life and left Kentucky behind. I moved to a small town in Missouri. Found a little place with a porch swing and a garden out back. I joined the local VFW, made friends at the diner, even started walking dogs from the shelter on weekends. And sometimes, just sometimes, I still miss Emily. I miss the little girl who used to sit beside me on the porch when she was 10, asking if birds ever get tired of flying. But that little girl's gone. And I've finally learned something. Blood doesn't make you family. Respect does. And when you let someone treat you like a burden long enough, you start to believe it. Until one day, you don't. That's the day everything changes. They tried to break me. Instead, I rebuilt myself. With better people. And I swear to you, I will never be a burden again. Not ever.